And the stream has switched. All right, we are live and ready to go. We're going to be doing some a little different stuff today. I have been a little bit under the weather, so I'm gonna talk real deep, and we're gonna do something a little short and sweet, probably, but hopefully something real useful. Couple of things. I'm just gonna leave that. This is the part of the whole reason I'm able to do this stream is because of this right here, the Grammar Club's Patreon. I'd like to invite anybody who's interested in supporting us to go give this a look. We got a lot of different tiers of values, and we put music out every single week, sometimes multiple times a week, and I do this stream every Tuesday, unless I'm super sick or gone. Let's go ahead and get to it. We'll pull up Cubase here. So what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be playing with some Soundfonts, which are not really supported inside of Cubase. They were real popular back when the Sound Blaster Live was a thing. At one point, the Sound Blaster Live card was really about the best sampler you could get for $15. You could pick those things up for nothing, and they would load up a variety of sounds, virtual instruments, sound banks called Soundfonts, and they would allow you to use your system memory, which was a radical thing back in the day when computers had RAM that was measured in megabytes instead of gigabytes. So anyway, we're going to utilize that today. To start with, I've already prepped some stuff to look at. Let's get this up and get the chat up here. There we go. In case any of you have any questions, I would like to be able to answer them for you. We'll leave that one right there, and we'll leave this one. Not that one, this one. All right, so now I can chat with you if I need to. Now, over here, this, if you look, says Bound Together 09 Ailsean, the drugstore sells sparks. This is a song that I did for my friend Joe Cam back in 2005. So it's been a minute since I worked on this. What we have here is I had created a sound font out of sounds that I recorded from banging on a can of Sparks. Sparks was a delicious alcoholic beverage. You can't have it anymore because energy drinks plus alcohol equals shenanigans. And frankly, we can't have that level of shenanigans going on, so they outlawed it. So you cannot get Sparks anymore. For you slightly younger people, it's a bit like Four Loko, except it tasted like Smarties. For you much younger people, don't drink. You're too young. Just stop. You don't need to know about it. So anyway, let's take a listen here. I had done this. I had remade the drugstore music from the game Earthbound for him for a project called Bound Together. So let's give this first bit a listen. There's a ton of reverb on that. Just loads of reverb all over that thing. So yeah, rather than record myself banging on a can, what I did is create a sound font out of that. And then I played this part, which I just recreated today. Let's listen to what this would sound like on an actual drum kit. Okay, so those are the drums as they would sound on MT Power Drum. I did set this up to be playable as a kit, which we're going to look at in just a moment. Now, what we're going to do in order to use these sound fonts in Cubase or any other modern DAW, you're going to need to not go to our Patreon, but you're going to need to go to this website, plog.com/downloads # Sforzando. SFZ for short, and you can get the VST from here. There are loads and loads of sound fonts all over the internet. Just search for sound fonts. You will find tons and tons of them, free, paid, and other. Maybe other. I'm not sure about other. Maybe you could trade somebody for their sound fonts. More than likely, you'll just download them. So once you've downloaded this, you will install Sforzando. It's a fairly straightforward installation. It'll ask you if you want to do, it will ask you to do 32-bit or 64-bit. You can choose whichever. Here's the thing you're going to do next. In Cubase, you will go to Devices, and we need to do plugin information. And under plugin information, you see all of your VST2 plugins. You'll need to update your plugin path. Now notice I've got several. I advise everybody to do this, C:\VST plugins. And whenever you get like a, sorry, Beefy was typing to me. Whenever you get a VST instrument that is just a DLL, just throw it into that folder. And that way Cubase and whatever DAW you redirect to that folder will see it. Now in my case, I installed the 64-bit version of Sforzando under Program Files, Plug, Sforzando, VST. I went ahead and added the upper level folder just to be thorough. But after you add that to your list, then you update your list and it should show up in here. It shows up a little strangely. It shows up as, where is it? It shows up as Sforzando VST X64 here, because that's the name of the DLL file for the instrument. But when we go over here, we're going to add a track now. And we'll add our instrument track, and we will choose Plog Art et Technology Inc. Sforzando. So be aware that the name is different. So anyway, let's go ahead and add that track. And we get this Sforzando X64. Now, once this is up, we can use Soundfonts with it. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to add a sound font to it. So I've got a folder full of sound fonts over here. I'm going to drag a Pringles can. I did a Sparks can, and then I also did a Pringles can. So I'm going to take this Pringles kit, and I'm going to drag it onto Sforzando, and what it will do is it will convert it into a usable file. Now, the first time you do this, it's going to ask you where to put that. My advice is to put it in whatever folder you have your sound fonts in. However you want to organize your stuff, man, it ain't my business. I'm not your dad. Do it how you want to do it. But my advice, if I were your dad, is to tell you to put them all in one folder with maybe some subfolders to group things in a way that makes sense to you when you need to find things. So anyway, it's going to then add it. And if we look at instruments, we can empty the instrument here. We can import, which is what we just did. We could reload. What we want to look at is converted. Now under converted, SF2 is going to pop up. And you can see that the Pringles kit with melodic instruments is the one that I had just done. I also had earlier imported the 4 megabyte GM Creative Labs sound font, which is possibly the greatest 4 megs of sound you're ever going to download. It makes Canyon.mid sound like it's meant to sound. When we go over here, you can see that there are banks, and each bank will have different instruments in it. Under this, if we look at Soundfont 2 and we select the Pringles kit that we just imported, notice that I only have the one bank. If I go to my Sparks kit, I did bank 0 and bank 128, and I did that for compatibility reasons. This is a little nerdy. You may or may not care about this. Today, this day and age, it doesn't matter that much. You're going to load something like Sforzando and load your sound fonts that way. But if you look at this 4 meg kit, Bank 0 is your standard 128 general MIDI kits, starting with 0 piano, ending up all the way down at 127. Scroll. For some reason, the scroll bar doesn't make this happen. You got to click the arrow. And holding it down doesn't happen either, so you got to just click away at that bad boy. But it's worth clicking, because you get to all the good sounds are in the hundreds, like Goblin and Echo drops. All the way down here, we get 127 gunshot. So we get all of those. The spark scan, what you'll notice here is bank 128 are the drum kits. So in order to ensure compatibility, I went ahead and put the drum kit on bank 0, which is the main instrument, and then I put it on bank 128. Now let's load this thing. Even though I just added the Pringles kit, let's look at the spark scan because that's what we're interested in today. So we'll go to 0 drums, and we have loaded. And notice it shows you the range right here on the keyboard of things that are available. Let's unmute things here. So not all of the sounds were the spark scan. This was the C and D. That was me playing with a plastic bag, I think. But it is just a general MIDI compatible drum kit. We have kick, snare, and good news for our Patreon patrons. I'm going to upload and post this kit. So if you are at a patron level where you get our sound files and you get our remix kits and everything, you will be able to use the Sparks drum kit and make great music. I will upload the Pringles kit as well. So you'll be able to get these, and this is how you could use them in a modern DAW. Now, so what I had done is I went in and programmed this earlier. Let's drag that down, and let's give this a listen. Our original here. Oh my! Let's turn that one down a little. And what we've got here is the Pringles kit, or the Sparks kit. And notice it sounds a little dry because it's unprocessed, but if we look at this, Sforzando has some effects and things. I haven't played with this yet, but let's see what we can do with this. Let's go with the stupid big cathedral reverb. And let's see, how do we need to apply that? Do we apply it to anything, or does it just automatically go? The ambiance, and then there's detune is the other. And then we have some equalizer for the reverb. I'm not hearing it. I may have to play with this more and get back to you guys on how to make this work. But getting to this point where you can just use your sound fonts is super, super easy. So it's ballroom. Okay, so that just does as expected. But let's take it and we'll just do it over here. If we go to our inserts, let's see if we can get it to sound pretty close to the original. We'll go to Roomworks, and let's add a big fat cathedral or something. Grand Chamber sounds good. Or it sounds ridiculous. St. Paul. Let's go with that. And of course, I just sequenced this today, and I didn't get it exactly the same as I did in 2005. But there you have it. That is how you can use Soundfonts inside of a modern DAW. And a bonus present for our Patreon patron supporters, you will be able to have this specific one. Let's go ahead real quick before I get out of here. Like I said, I'm feeling a little under the weather, so we're going to keep it short and sweet today, but still hopefully provide you some useful information. Let's go ahead and load up the Pringles kit just for fun, and we'll play that same thing back on that. So if we go up to here and hit our synth button, we will go to converted, SF2, and let's do the Pringles kit, and 01 is our kit. So notice it's a little smaller kit. There was one other thing I was going to show you guys. A neat thing that we can do with this MT power drum. If I load, not that, if I load the synth up, we can select grooves here. So what I did is just created a small little groove based on some of these, and I put it here. And when we use this kit, it actually creates MIDI of the groove that you've selected. So let's take that. I'll go back and play this back. I'm not sure why that's getting all the reverb. Why are you getting all the reverb? Oh, I know why. It's because it's playing this track along with it. There we go. Oops. Okay, so how does that sound on our Pringles kit? So yeah, you can take these things and once you've got your grooves, you can put them on whatever other drum kit you might have. In fact, real quick before we go, let's drag another thing in while we're taking a trip down memory lane here. We'll mute this one. We'll go to the Sforzando synth again. And we'll drag in a kit that I used to use a lot. I got this off of a Creative Labs CD. So we'll drag that, pull up Cubase. Does that just work even on the wrong? Yeah, it does. Okay, there we go. So now let's go to converted, SF2, Blue Jay drums, and notice they also did these on 0 and 128. Then it shows again. Well, I haven't heard this drum kit in a while. I used to use this all the time. So yeah, now you guys know you can use Sforzando VST to open up the world of Soundfonts again. If you're younger and you didn't get to get into Soundfonts during their heyday, man, you missed out. But fortunately, you don't have to stay in the dark. You can use these things now. Some of them are terrible. I haven't loaded any really horrible ones. I mean, arguably my can of Sparks and can of Pringles drum kits are not the best sounding Soundfonts you're ever going to find. However, you will find a wide range of great sounding stuff. It all loads super quick because most of the Soundfonts are going to be small, because back then, the 64 meg Soundfont was kind of getting on the large size. Nowadays, VSTs will be, 64 gigabytes is nothing sometimes. So there you have it. That's how you can load Soundfonts and use Sparks cans. All right. You guys have a great day. I have been Ailsean from the Grammar Club, and I will see you later.